Welcome to Society Sunlit Valley. This is going to be your ultimate guide to getting to know every single one of the features in the pack so that you can hit the ground running in this amazing Java Minecraft mod pack. The main concept of the pack is a little bit like Stardew Valley, Animal Crossing, and games like that, but in Minecraft, and actually is something I've been looking for a very long time. I'm going to show you around my farm quickly so you can kind of understand the concept of the pack. Number one. Here we have our fruits and vegetables that I'm growing. I've got some animals over here. I've got some preserves growing in my preserves jar. And each day I'm going to come over to my shipping bin and I'm going to place it in here. You can see my applesauce jar is worth 184 coins. And now that's going to go in my shipping bin. At 6 a.m. tomorrow, the shipping bin will automatically all get sold and I will receive the money for it. There's loads of different ways that we can make money. I've got these tappers tapping tar out of my trees. There's animal husbandry, fishing, crop growing. It is absolutely insane how complex this can get. So when we start off, you're going to be starting, in a survival world. You're going to go into your inventory to the top left. In here, you go Feed the Beast Chunks map, and that's going to let you claim your chunks, especially if you're on a server. Now, at night time, I don't think there's any zombies or anything in the overworld. I haven't seen any myself, but they are in caves, and they are also in somewhere called Skull Cavern. So there's loads of mobs to kill, but you're pretty safe out here, like, in the overground. So lots of adventuring to do, but it's a little bit more relaxed. Then we have our quests at the top left. Now, if you're new to this pack, what I want you to do, see these little triangles? I want you to collapse Community Center and Collection. That is because the only ones that you need when you're starting out are Guides, Tutorial, and the Welcome and Building Shop. The others may overwhelm you and aren't really needed until later game. So let's start off with the Welcome tab. So, number one, inventory is kept on def, but you will actually lose tool durability. Mobs do not spawn above ground, Phantom and Pillager patrols no longer spawns, and creepers actually explode with confetti. You are going to be doing a lot of mining, and therefore it's still dangerous, it's just underground only. So when it says tools don't lose durability, what happens is we start off with a normal wooden tool, so I can make a wooden pickaxe as usual. So I'm going to make that wooden pickaxe, and then to upgrade it any further, I actually have to use a smithing table. I'm going to use a brass coin, a wooden pickaxe, and a piece of cobblestone, and it will turn it into a stone pickaxe. It will never lose durability unless you die or something like that, meaning we can use these forever, and you're slowly going to upgrade through the different tiers of tools. How do you get a brass coin? Well, we're going to cover that when we go on to money, but that's how the tools work. And it's the same with your armor. This quest here is called the Spice of Life. You will tick this box and you get a food book. If I open up my food book, you can see I have a current food diversity of 1.67, and it shows me the most recent food I've eaten. Now, if I can get to a threshold of 5 food diversity, I get 2 max health. If I get to a threshold of 10, I get strength 1 as well, etc, etc. And as you can see here, at a threshold of 40, you get 20 plus max health. And you are going to need this later on in the game when we dive deep into the mining dimension, Skull Cavern. If you've ever played Vault Hunters, it's actually a little bit like that. So you want to eat lots of different foods. Like you can see here, raw chicken would give diversity of 0.14, steak would give 2 diversity, etc, etc. We want to get it as high as possible to get those benefits. Once you've read through the welcome one, you then want to go down into 1, getting started. Getting started will take you through to getting your own farmhouse, and then you want to work through farm building, which basically takes you to the Nether, because you need to get a flint and tinder, which is very expensive in this pack. And then advanced farming, you start in the Nether, and that takes you through to the Skull Cavern. So that is how you kind of want to look at progressing through the pack. Then you've got prismatic farming, which is taking you through Skull Cavern, and then you've got the bottom of Skull Cavern, etc. And then you have mechanical and mystical, which is Britannia and more created things like that. So you want to go through these chapters from kind of start, finish, farm building, preparing the fields, up to getting to the Nether, advanced farming, starting in the Nether, getting to Skull Cavern. And at that point, you're pretty much going to know how the game works. So I've already spoken a little bit about villagers and making money. Now, you're going to need to actually trade with villagers for a lot of different things when you get going with your farm. Now, villagers do not level up in this mod pack, and they also will not change trades. There's a lot of different villagers that you could get as well. So, what you're going to want to make is a white seat. You don't have to make white seats, but these seats you can click your villagers onto and they will not move. So, if I go into the quest book, getting started, if you come along to this quest here, starting your village, you will get a villager spawn crate. And that's going to give you your first villager. So you don't have to find a village, but you can if you want to. Villagers do spawn. For example, there is one up here, and there's one over here on my map. So you can find them manually, but either do that quest. Quite a lot of the quests give villagers in a crate as a reward, or you can make this, the market. The market is made of a chest and some zinc coins. So let's talk about coins quickly. There's a quest that talks about it. There are 6 main tiers of coins, and they can be crafted up or down from the previous tier. A copper coin is worth, a cent. Zinc is worth 8, iron 16, brass 64, gold 500, and iridium 4096. So in order to actually get coins, we need to put items into a shipping bin, like this basic shipping bin. So I showed you mine earlier. Overnight, the mailman or whoever has been, and now it's replaced all of the items I had in there with coins. And you can see that if I press U, I can make 8 coins into a zinc coin, for example. So make a shipping bin, put some things in there. You can put in ore, like raw iron is worth 8 each, coal is worth 8 each, and ores, I would definitely say, early game are the best item to go with when looking at making some very, very early game money. Another really good early game money, while we're on it, is going to be these berry bushes that you'll find around. I just break the berry bush and I get 5 boysenberries. That's worth 80 just there from that one bush that I hit. So they're worth quite a lot of money. And that's another really good early game way of getting money. Now, what I would also recommend is that you go exploring, because there's lots of structures, etc., which may have loot chests in them with loads of really expensive loot that you could sell as well. Like in that structure up there, I found loads of cool loot. But anyway, let's get back to villagers. So you could trade with this market person, and they will sell you loads of different seeds and things like rice and cactus, etc. Sugarcane. I do think they only give you sugarcane once you've found sugarcane in the overworld, like vitric cactus, etc. So some things will only be sold in here once you've already gotten them a different way, and then you could just get them a lot more via the market. A villager spawn crate is 2,048 coins. So I could buy one of these, click it down, and spawn a villager. If you are taking a villager from the spawn crate, or if you're taking them from a village, all you could do is shift and right click on a villager, and you can pick them up and walk around with them. And then I can place them on a white seat, and they will not move. So you can move animals and villagers, etc., around by shift clicking them. And the same with chests for easier maneuverability. So let's talk about all the different villager types. Under guides and villagers, we have all of them. There's a bard. And what he sells is kind of music items, cameras, film, an easel, etc. Nothing that you're really going to need to super early game, and that's of a note block. Then we have the shepherd. He is going to be for animal husbandry and uses a loom. You're going to get animal feed from him, a feeding trough where you can automatically feed your animals, milk pails, and loads of different spawn crates for your animals. There is the farmer. He is going to give you tree fertilizer for growing trees, different types of fertilizer for growing crops, salt, sugar, glass bottles and jars, things like that. There is a fisherman with a barrel, worm, fishing rods, things like that, different hooks. We'll explain that in the fishing chapter of this video. A grinder gives a storage smith. That's going to give you your refined storage and things like that, so you can store everything. And also barrel upgrades and things like that for your backpacks and things like that, because you can get backpacks in here. The smithing table. This is going to be the most important one early game. He is going to sell you 1, ingots. Not that you need these, you can just get them yourself. A flint and steel for getting to the nether later is 20,000. And he also sells smithing templates for your gear. So you are going to need things like smithing templates. So the way that tools and armor upgrade is going to be wood going to stone. So a wooden hoe with a piece of cobblestone and a brass coin in a smithing table makes a stone hoe. You then need to get an iron ingot and a smithing template from the trader to go to iron. Then it's gold, which is actually balanced out in this pack. It's not rubbish. And then it's diamond. And then after that, etc., etc. And you buy those smithing templates for, let's say, 512 from him for iron, 4,000 for gold, etc. And that's how you upgrade your gear, including armor. The cartography table makes a banker. He makes you a bank terminal where you could store all of your coins. So in here, I could put all my coinslet, and that's where I could put them each day. You could also get an advanced shipping bin that will automatically put it to your bank. And he also sells a bank meter for 64 coins. When you get this, what you want to do with it is you go into your inventory and then your curios slot here, and you can equip your bank meter in here. And now you can see your bank balance at the top left of the screen all of the time. He also sells a shipping bin monitor, which you could put on top of your shipping bin to see how much money you're going to get the next day when your shipping bin sells. And some other cool items in there as well. Then we have the tiki bar. That is for the barkeeper. He actually sells some cool food, which could help you with getting, good food early on in the game. And he also sells a lunch bag, a lunch box, which will actually let you eat different items, things like that. The lectern is for the cleric. He'll send you a picarang, a lytra wing, a hearthstone, which teleports you to your personal spawn point whenever you want. Blaze powder, a stone wand for building. Oh, and then these crystals of regret are for resetting your skill points, which I haven't gone through with you yet. They're from the cleric. The brewing stand is for someone else. Cauldron is for a leather worker. He sells like sewing tables and things like that for your gear. Backpacks, upgrades. The brewing stand should be, the cleric on there. And then the lectern, should be a librarian. Oh dear. There we go, librarian. Who sells an enchanting table, some books, a disenchanter, and things like that. Now, the cauldron is going to be the leather worker. I've just shown you that. Now, there is also some advanced ones later on, but you need prismatic shards from the Skull Cavern to get these. And that's an exotic trader, a mystical botanist, and a master cultivator, but they are much later game. And that's all of the villagers and the trading you're going to be doing with them. So don't forget you can shift-click to pick them up and place them down, and you can put them on white seats in order for them to not run away, so that you don't need all these blocks like that. And you can buy things from the market as well. One really great early game way of making money is going to be mining. So let's talk about mining, the skills that come with it, and how we're going to do it. So you're going to take your wooden pickaxe, or as I now have, a diamond pickaxe after upgrading it many times, and you're going to go mining. So what you also could do is press K for, I'm not sure what K stands for, kale, and you get your skills up. Farming, husbandry, mining, fishing, adventuring, and then there's some books here. So as you go mining, you will get mining XP, and then you can do these skills. So you get an XP level, you click it and obviously get it. Things like pickaxe efficiency, fortune, melee damage, pickaxe efficiency, and it goes all the way along. Same in fishing. Husbandry is for feeding and looking after animals. Farming is whenever you're doing, farming, you'll get points. Adventuring is by killing mobs and getting XP. Fishing is obviously from fishing, and things like that. So when you're mining, you're also going to find something like this, a geode. In cold biomes, you will find frozen geodes, and in the nether, you will also find magma geodes. Now, these geodes can be broken with a geode buster. We're going to get those by trading with a blacksmith. So I go geode buster. I'm going to buy 19, I think. And I've gotten these Omni geodes as well from the Cavern. And then what you do is you put the geode in your offhand, hold the geode buster and right click. And as you can see, I'm getting some diorite, some andesite, but I'm also getting a froggy helm. I'm also getting a petrified slime. I'm also getting some tin cans and things like that. So early game, what I can then do is I could go into my shipping bin, put in my froggy helm, put in my tin cans, put in my petrified slime that I've gotten from my geodes, and I can sell it for money overnight. Obviously, a bit of luck is involved. Like I just got slate worth 80, pyrite worth 128. You know, a bit of luck is involved. Now, tin cans are only worth 1, but as you progress through the game, you're going to get better and better ways of processing these items. For example, in my house, I now have a recycling machine, which has turned some back bin bags into bouquets of flowers. I could turn my tin can in here. Recycling machine brass coin. There we go. Oh, sorry, the brass coin. I put it in a tin can, and then I get 3 brass coins the next day, which are going to be worth a lot more money. Otherwise, they're just worth 1 coin. To make a recycling machine, for example, it's going to need 2 blocks of iron, fire quartz, which you get in the nether, and some fire logs and things like that. So very expensive machines to make, but they can make you a lot of money over the long term. Now let's look at farming and how that works. So, let's get my hoe out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hoe the soil. Now, unlike normal Minecraft, you cannot put water near it to hydrate it. You'll need to get a watering can. This can be upgraded to water larger amounts. I can right-click the ground, and now it's watered. Every day, you will need to water each patch of ground. Now, you may think, God, that sounds boring. So these strawberry bushes here, I have to water them, water them, water them. With my iron watering can, I can shift and hold right-click, and you can see green thingies coming up. Boom! It's then going to water. Oh, I've run out of water. I just right-click on the water to fill it up again. I shift right-click, and I'll be able to water 3 in a row. And you can see where the sparklies are is showing me where it's going to water. So it's watered all 3 of these. Every time I upgrade it, it will actually, be able to water a larger area. And as you can see, it's done in the usual way. Now, each day, these strawberries will grow 20% more, and after 5 days, they'll be fully grown. So you must water them each and every day. If it dries out like these, and then the next day I leave them dried out, they will die. What you can, however, make are sprinklers. Sprinklers are going to actually water everything around it. So an iron sprinkler does a 3x3, meaning you place it in the middle, and this here is all going to be watered. So 3, 3, 3, 3 will always stay hydrated. You don't see the water coming out of the sprinkler, but when you wake up the next day, it will actually be watered automatically. So don't worry if you don't see the water. Now, if we look at strawberries, or get a strawberry seed from the market, what we'll then see is that strawberries can only be grown in spring. So, like tomato seeds, you can make them in spring, summer, autumn, blueberries in summer, etc., etc. So you can now see at the top of my screen, I'm in early summer. So what happens to my strawberries that were growing in spring? Well, they'll just stop growing, and they'll stay at 80% grown until spring comes around again. I would probably recommend getting rid of these and then just growing a different crop here if you're short on space or it's early game. The seasons last for 30 days, so you have ample amount of time to utilise each crop. What you can, however, make is greenhouse glass. And this will require you going to the nether to get fire quartz, and organic glass, or you can use earth crystals, actually, which you just mine up underground, or jade, which is just a rare product. And when you place this, it grows the first crop underneath it in any season, meaning if I placed a greenhouse glass up to 16 blocks above my strawberry plant, then they would grow all year round. So there are ways around seasons. What you could also get is, can you see here, there's little pink dots and then yellow dots? That is weak fertilised farmland. We've got bountiful fertilised farmland. There's different fertiliser that we could get. So weak fertiliser decreases the time it takes for crops to mature by a day. Strong fertiliser is 2 days, etc. Hydrating will keep the farmland watered until it's half grown. Deluxe hydrating, it will never dry out. Bountiful, you have a chance to get extra crops when harvested. And then we've got low quality, high quality, and pristine quality fertilizer. That will actually mean that your crops will have a higher chance of quality. So in regards to quality crops, a normal strawberry is worth 18. I don't know if I've got any higher quality, but there's an iron and gold and diamond, I think it is. I don't know if I've got any. Iron, gold, and diamond quality crops. Basically, it'll have a little diamond like icon on it if it's a diamond quality crop, and it'll just sell for more. Now, if you're wondering, okay, so I get my strawberries and I turn them into fruity granola bar. Will that have a quality? No. And therefore, I'd recommend probably just selling your higher quality crops, or just using them in recipes. That system isn't that great, in my opinion. Some biomes, like a savanna and jungle, will always be summer. They will be marked as wet season and dry season. And then also the same for frozen biomes, it will always be winter. Bone meal will also not work, and you will need to use the fertilizers I've shown you, which you can get from many different sources, making your own, buying them, or from quest rewards. There's a lot of different things you can do with your food and crops, like using here a campfire and then a cooking pot. This is from Farmer's Delight. If you need any tutorials on things like Farmer's Delight, check out my channel. I've done pretty much every mod in this mod pack. At the time of filming this guide, there was a few I haven't done, and therefore I'm going to be doing them over the next week after filming this. But things like Farmer's Delight, Let's Do Vinery, all of these farming mods, storage mods in the mod pack, I have pretty much covered nearly every mod in Minecraft in most mod packs at this point. So check out my channel and don't forget to subscribe if this video is helpful for you, and check out my other guides. I'll also be launching a Sunlit Valley Modpack server in my Discord as well, so check that out in the Discord. Processing your crops is going to make a big difference. A strawberry on its own is worth 18 gold, whereas if I cook them up with just some water, great tip by the way, make water cups out of water buckets to make 8, and therefore you can use a water cup in here and you can get 8 of them. So 2 strawberries would be worth 36 together. Yet if I just use some water in a cooking pot, I can make strawberry tea worth 80. And therefore it's worth over double what the 2 strawberries would have been worth alone. Or strawberry and some sugar would make 42 with strawberry jam, which you can then make with some bread and make into bread with jam. Rather than 42, it's worth 44. However, strawberry jam is 42 and bread is 22. So actually, bread with jam wouldn't be worth selling as a product. You'd be worth selling the jam and the bread on their own in your shipping bin. But you want to process higher and higher materials. You've then got things like a mayonnaise machine that you can put eggs into. There's tree taps that you could get to get tar, etc., which I can make into, a mayonnaise machine, or fertilizer with honey. And, you can make money like that. So there's lots of different ways that you can passively be making money, especially early game. I would stock up on things like sugarcane in the seasons that they are available, so that you make sure you do actually have them all year round, or of course just make a greenhouse. Speaking of greenhouses, let's now move on to buildings. So in your quest book, in Getting Started, the end of the first chapter takes you to constructing a farmhouse. You need some fire logs, which are made just with actual logs. And then we have cobblestone, and that'll get you a choice reward. So you can't see these examples, however. You can if you go up to the building shop, and then just go through each of these categories, and then farmhouses. Now under here, you can say Tudor farmhouse, and it shows you what the Tudor farmhouse looks like. You could then look at cherry farmhouse. You could then look at Siberian farmhouse. So this is actually how you can view all of them. And in here, you could buy more buildings like chicken coops, sheds, barns, deluxe barns, or large sheds. For example, an Alpine large shed looks like this. You just give the quest these items, and it will give you a blueprint for that large shed. And that is actually how you do that. Now, for the farmhouse, for example, looks like this one I've chosen. If we go inside, you can see it's got a nice big open room. And then we go upstairs, it's got another room, and then upstairs it's got the roof. So they are quite spacious, and there's not really any need for you to build your own buildings unless you really want to in this pack. There's also down in guides building tools, which gives you things like building gadgets and frames, and some cool tools that you could use, and I've done some tutorials on other mods in this chapter. There's also transportation, there's cars in here, rails, and a few different ways of teleporting around in the mod pack. And speaking of buildings, we have these community centre buildings that will also open up different chapters. The pantry, for example, if you complete the spring crops bundle by giving it these, you get some fertilizer. complete all of these bundles, and then you get a pantry trophy and some greenhouse glass. Now, the ones that are really important is the vault. If I go to advanced farming, you can see once you go through the nether, etc., the skull cavern, you need to get a skull cavern teleporter. And to do that, you need to actually do the vault. The vault is basically where you just donate some coins, and it's about 60,000 coins. You need 40, 56, 35, 80, 90,000 coins overall, and then you get vault completed, and you will get the skull cavern teleporter. Once you've got that, you can then go to the skull cavern. More on that shortly. So there's different community center quests you can do. For example, the abandoned farm one, once you do the missing bundle, which is all of these items, you then get the abandoned farm completed, and you get the petal apothecary, and you can start Botania. Lastly, there's a white sleeping bag, so you can sleep anywhere without having to reset your spawn point. And there's some other items that are really good early game inside buildings, etc. One being the sewing table. So when you're making armor, the way that you make armor is leather, and then it goes to chainmail and an iron. Now, leather, unless you could find loads of cows, could be a bit difficult to get. So you could make a sewing table, and what you do is you get your sewing needle, sewing needle and some shears, the two items you would need, and you can make things like wool trim and wool rolls. And you just put in like your sewing needle up here, and then you can make you put in the wool and you get items. Same with the shears, and then you can make gear out of those items. Next up, we'll be looking at animal husbandry and fishing, so everything animal based. So animals are quite simple. You can buy the mob drops from the traders, and I've got some cows in here. So if they're in an enclosed area, they will be less happy if there's more than 4 of them in each enclosed area. Like I have here, there's 4 cows. So with that, you can right click with an empty hand, and you can see how much the cow likes you. As you can see, I've got 4 hearts on this cow. And it says they went too long without food. Now, for food, what you're going to do is trade at a shepherd villager. And it's just called animal feed here. You can shift click to get a stack, by the way. There's a diamond lasso, which holds animals for easy transport. Feeding troughs will automatically feed nearby animals in quite a large area. Also using a name tag. If you put a name on your animal, they will like you even more. A milk pail, you just right click, you only need 1 milk pail. The way it works is that if I get a milk pail, I can right click it on the animal. So I can right click it. Too hungry to produce milk. Okay, so let's feed them first. I'm going to feed them by hand. You just right click on them with the feed, and that feeds the animal. And then I right click, and as you can see, I'm getting the milk. So it doesn't fill the milk pail, it actually gives you separate milk. I think they do give you better produce if they like you more, but I'm not sure. And then we have magic shears, which you could get for 3,000 from the shepherd. And I can right click the animal if they like me enough. So a lot of hand feeding, petting, which you just right click them. And I can get raw beef and leather without killing the animal. So that's how you want to do it. And then the rest of this feed, I'm just going to put in the feeding trough to keep all the animals happy. It won't feed them immediately. It'll happen at, I believe, 6 a.m. when the rest of everything happens on the farm. That is pretty much all there is to know about animals. There's also things like a chicken nest, which will automatically collect eggs for you. And in the buildings section, there is actually things like coops and also barns that you may want to make, as that is a really easy way for holding your animals. Regarding fishing then, it's pretty simple. You could make a fishing rod. You trade it, with a fisher for 2,000. And then you can upgrade it in an anvil into like an iron one, a gold one, diamond one, etc. And there is a fishing mini game that we're going to have to do. Now, different fish are caught. I'm not going to go through them all, but different fish are caught depending on what season it is. If it's a river or an ocean, or what time of day it is. Some only appear at nighttime, some appear at daytime, and things like that. But you can fish anywhere. Now, the fishing mini game is going to be normal until we actually hook the fish, and then we're going to see something different happen. So when it hooks on, we're going to get a different mini game come up. Here comes the fish. I right click, and it says hit, And as you can see here, what I'm doing is I'm right-clicking to try and hold this bar. You see this bar's going down? As long as the bar is on the fish, it'll go up. So you want to kind of hold down right-click, and if you let it go all the way to the bottom, you lose the fish. So you want to try and hold down right-click so that the bar goes on top of the fish until the bar on the right goes all the way to the top. Let's show that again. So hit, and as you can see, here I am actually trying to do it now. See? And it's a little bit difficult, but you get used to it quite easily. And there you go. I've now caught a minnow. And that's pretty much how you fish. Now, when you upgrade your fishing rod, you can get something called a tackle box. And that tackle box, you can put bobbers and different hooks in to get better fish, etc. And you can buy different hooks here. As you can see, a light hook casts further, a heavy hook casts shorter. A jelly hook, you get a chance to catch jellyfish. Increase luck with a gold hook. Crabber's hook, 50% chance to catch crab trap bait and things like that. There's the different bobbers here that you could buy. And here is the tackle box. So if I buy a tackle box, what you could do is inside you could put your bobbers and your hooks and also a fishing rod, and then that'll actually attach the items in here onto your fishing rod. And you want to be using Aquaculture 2. You can see this is all from Aquaculture 2. That's the mod it uses. I've got a full tutorial on aquaculture on my channel. So again, check that out. Don't forget to subscribe. Like I said earlier in this video, I've got guides on most of the mods in this mod pack. And you also get your Neptunium smithing up template for upgrading to the best fishing rod from the Fisher as well. There's also worm farms that can help you get worms, which help you get fish, etc. In the quest book, in farm building, it has got a lot of the items in here about fishing, so you may want to read some of those as well. So once you've started making some good money, you want to really work towards the vault in the community centre. Getting the coins in here so you can then get the vault completed quest done and therefore get your Skull Cavern teleporter. So let's now look at what happens in the Skull Cavern, how to get there, and how to make the most of actually using it. When you get your teleporter, you can place it down wherever you like. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a run through of the Skull Cavern and take you guys with me. Now, there's a few things you're going to want to take with you. One is an escape rope. These are so useful. One thing about the Skull Cavern is that if you're in there in I think it's 5:30 a.m., 6 a.m., you will get knocked out and technically die. So you want to make sure that you're not in there past that time. Now, it can take a good long time in there. So you want to go at 9 a.m. or 7 a.m., 6 a.m., as early in the morning as possible after 6 a.m. so that you've got a lot of time in there. You're also going to want to take, a good amount of food with you. And that needs to be high quality food because you may get, damaged a lot in there by the mobs, which have double health and do double damage. Now, one cool thing about the Skull Cavern is that it actually refreshes every day, meaning each day that you go in there, everything will have reset. Now, anything you place in there, like torches, etc., will not reset and will always stay the same. So that means that you can build things in there and they stay, yet everything else refreshes. So that could work to your advantage. Okay, I'm pretty much ready to go. I've got my escape rope. One other thing you could use in there, which I haven't got any of, is these. That is a magic rope, which they will drop in Skull Cavern, and these will teleport you down a layer. Okay, so let's go in. I'm in full diamond gear. You should be fine with full gold gear, really, and some good food, especially as you get used to the mobs in there. So you're going to right-click the Skull Cavern teleporter, and then it comes out to this. So what you do is you click one of these boulders, which will show a rope. You go down the rope, and that's how you escape, by the way, unless you use your escape rope, which is what I would recommend. And then in the top levels, you're going to get zombies, these awful swampies, which when they hit you, give you blindness and poison. And they also leave a poison cloud on the ground. But apart from that, they're very easy to kill. So just back away from them and do that. There's loads of ores in here. Now, you might notice that when I'm mining ores, I get a purple gem with every ore I mine. That is because I have a skill in the book section. Now, these books have a chance to drop, not just in Skull Cavern, but when you're doing the things that kind of associated with the book. Like this one. Mining any ore drops Sparkstone. So that book has a chance to drop when you're mining. And then you learn it and you get it forever, which is really cool. Trees have a 15% chance to drop fire logs when chopped. I got that book when chopping trees, for example. And I've noticed a lot of these books or XP books will actually drop in the cavern as well. So you want to just mine all the ores, basically. You don't have to. You could then go down to the next level where you're going to get even more. So to get to the next level, mine these boulders, and aha, there we go, a rope down to the next level. And the next level is going to be even harder, but it's going to have more ore in them. So as you can see already, the mobs are starting to ramp up. And you'll also get geodes that drop as well that you can mine for actual gems. And when you're ready, you can go down again. Of course, you may say, oh, you know what, I think I'm ready to leave. You don't have to go back up the same hole you came down. There's loads of ropes all over the map, as you can see, and you can just go up and then break the block at the top to get up to the level above. You will also see these Forest Mojos. They only take 2 hits to kill. They're very, very easy, but they are quite strong. There's also these things, Cliffhangers. Kill them when they're on the ground, because if they go onto the ceiling, they actually drag you up to the ceiling with them and do a load of damage to you. But they're more annoying than anything. Same with these big Forest Mojos. They charge you, which look very scary. They don't really do a lot of damage. Once you've gone through a few levels of the mossy area, you will then notice that the floor looks like this like dark blue stone. That means that when you go to the next floor, that will be the new area, which is phase 2. So you're still in the mossy area, but the floor looks different, so you know you're ready to go to the next phase. So I'm going to go down, and now it's the icy area, as you can see. So this is where it gets a little bit harder. There are these big things walking around. There's drowned, which are just your basic drowned. Now these big, like, Vault Guardians, I like to call them, they're called Quakes. They will start, like, ticking like a bomb. And if they start making their ticking sound, you want to get really far away as they do a massive shockwave. They don't really attack you, but when you attack them, you see it's ticking up. I want to get far away from it because it lets out a shockwave like that. It's quite a big area, as you can see. And if that shockwave hits you, it's pretty much a guaranteed kill. Like, it is so deadly. So do watch out for those. But unless you attack them or a mob attacks them, they kind of just leave you alone. So just be aware of that. And now we're breaking through the ice boulders to get down to the next level. And again, the levels are going to get harder and harder. Now, you will start finding lead ore down here. When you mine that, it's actually going to give you like a nausea buff. But you keep mining lead, and hopefully you'll get the skill book, which is Introduction to Algorithms. Mining lead no longer causes brain damage cloud. So if you keep mining lead, hopefully after not long you'll get that skill book, and you can now mine lead with absolutely no issue. There's also creepers in here to watch out for. And you get these Omni Geodes as well, which are better versions of the Geodes from above. You'll also get these called Immortals. They're just kind of zooped up drowned. They're not really that bad. And you'll also get these annoying things, which are breezes. They don't do a lot of damage, but they do push you back and can be quite annoying. And I'd recommend killing those as a priority when you get down here. One thing you'll also find in the lower levels of this area is diamond ore, and a lot of it. So that's going to be really nice once you start getting into the lower levels. And that's really where the kind of value of this Skull Cavern starts ramping up, is when you start getting a lot of diamond ore in the lower levels of the second phase. You'll also find things like earth crystals down here, which you can find really at any level. It just depends on luck. Lead is also worth a fair amount. You also will find crates, like supply crates. They have to have logs and stuff in them in the Skull Cavern as well, which are very useful, of course. Now, sometimes, like unfortunately in this room, there might not be any rope. Now, that's why you'd use your cave descending rope, if you have any. Otherwise, what you'd really need to do is kind of go back up the rope and try a different area so that it leads not into this cave, but into like a different cave, if that makes sense. So I would try and go down a rope. Maybe, I don't know, in a different area. Now it will show. I said it shows on the screen I should really go home. That's showing you that it's getting late because remember after 5 a.m, 5:30 you will get kicked out. So if I go down this rope, there we go. I'm in a different cave than I went down earlier. So if you can't find a rope that goes further down, just basically go up and then try and use a different rope in a different area of the room that leads you to a different cave below. Actually get lower. There we go. I finally found a rope down in that second cave that I found. So if you stay in here too long, as you can see, it's 5:50 now. But 5:59, I believe it is, you will get kicked out. There we go. 5:55. You're then just kicked out to your spawn point, and you will get a medical bill from the hospital. 8,000 it cost me. And you will have slowness and darkness. So nothing will happen. You keep your inventory, etc. But it can get expensive. And obviously all of the loot that you've just got in there, you know, is now basically paying for your medical bill. Like, let's see what I got in there. So 0 in here at the moment. I'm going to put in my spark stones, my frozen tear, my fossilized clam, jade, lead. I'm going to open my geodes to see what's in there. And let's see what the total I got is. Now, I'm going to show you the lower levels after this. Okay, so including everything, it looks like I got a total of 35,000 from the run that I just did. So it can get really, really valuable, and we're not even at the lower levels yet. After a while, you'll finally then get down to this level. This is going to have gold in it, and a lot of gold at that. So this is the best way for you to get gold. And it's also going to have fire quartz, which you can mine up usually in the Nether. It can take a while to get down this low. As you can see, it's 2 a.m, and I actually started this run at 6 a.m, as soon as the day started. These Omni Geodes can be really good, as they can drop these really rare prismatic shards that you need for late game equipment as well, which can be really useful. And there's also redstone and more diamonds at this level as well. The mobs are going to get harder, and you're also going to get these kind of special mobs like this. Do try and kill them, as when you find these special mobs, they do often drop like XP books and things like that, as you can see this one here has, for example. Now, I'm getting incredibly full on gear, so we are going to be leaving here soon as time is ticking. But if you've got your escape route rope, then you're always going to be able to get out straight to the actual top, so straight up to the full ceiling, or the highest, what's it called, the surface. There's also these desert mojos that you'll find. Again, just like the higher ones, they're not very difficult. They do drop cactus, however, which you may want. There's also going to be a hell of a lot more mobs down here. As you can see, like here, I'm absolutely inundated with mobs, and it's actually getting quite difficult even in my full armor here. There's also scarabs that spawn down here, which are really annoying. So eventually you're going to get to this point here. And one thing to note in this area, which is getting really now to the bottom of Skull Cavern, is that when you drop into this level, where you steal the Blackstone, you are actually going to see a teleporter. And that will take you straight back up to the surface. Well, sorry, to your spawn point in the overworld. So if you can make it down this far, you actually have a really easy escape route. Because, you know, you are so low. There's blazes down here. There's, like, magma versions of zombies. And things are starting to get pretty terrifying. Look out for iridium ore, as that is going to be 1,024 per piece of scrap. And you get it quite a lot at these kind of levels. Oh, there's also wither skeletons at this point as well. So be careful of those. Obviously, they are quite difficult. You probably do want to upgrade to iridium gear and weapons at this point, but with all the gold, etc., diamonds and iridium you'll be getting down here, it's honestly not that bad. So let's go down into the first proper one. As you can see, another teleporter at this level too. So I do believe they are at every single level. There's also shulkers. There's phantoms down here, but to be honest, there is in the bit above this as well. Here's the magma zombies I was talking about. In the levels above, there's also mummies, and they are really annoying because they spawn these little, that's iridium ore, I just mined. They spawn little beetles that can be really annoying and really overwhelm you. And I can't remember if I've already mentioned it, but you will get silver ore at these kind of levels as well. A little bit above as well in the more desert area. You will get them too, but you will also find them down here. You're finding much new stuff at this level. The last thing to mention is these little things that fly around, and they drop wicked wax. I haven't even looked what it's for at this point, but it's more just to be aware that the wicked fly around. They're not very annoying, to be honest. I'm not even sure what the... So now I'm going to show you everything else in the Skull Cavern. So if I go into Spectator, it's actually magnificent how it looks. But you'll notice there's actually some special rooms if you get lucky, like this honeycomb room over here. Although there's not really anything that exciting in here, apart from some bee bits and bobs there, and some bee spawn crates, which are obviously useful. There is also some trial chambers down here, as you can see. And these ones, you're going to pretty much have to get lucky to find them, unless, you go into Spectator like this. But you will notice at some of the lower levels, some of the mobs will actually drop trial chamber keys. So you will see them on the mini-map, so you can kind of work your way towards them. But again, you will have to be a bit lucky to actually find them, of course. Now we're in the final layer, and what I want to show you is that you'll see there's a lot of black stone here, etc. And then there's also this biome, which is like the end biome. So there's actually two biomes at the bottom, as you can see, the blackstone one and then the end biome. And you get these pretty much intertwined together. And then the very bottom of the Skull Cavern just pretty much looks like this. It's pretty much the end, and also the blackstone. And that is as far as it goes. Oh, you may also find, oh my God, like a Britannia room. Like I said, there is a few lucky rooms you can find, like this one here, which is, you if you're very lucky to find. Actually, there looks like there is a few of these rooms hidden down here. They're not actually that rare. And then that's pretty much it. So, once you've done all of that and you've got your farms going, etc., I would follow the rest of the quests. It shows you all the cool gadgets and items that you can upgrade and, ways to do it. After prismatic farming, which basically takes you to the bottom of Skull Cavern, you then are going to want to start on mechanical farming. And that basically is all about Create. If you're not sure how to use Create, again, check out my channel. I do have a lot of different Create tutorials, especially for beginners. And then finally, we get on to Britannia, which I have, again, a complete tutorial on and loads of bite-sized tutorials on the channel. That you get from the Petal Apothecary. And the Petal Apothecary... you do the Abandoned Farm quest ones, which is this one here. So you have to do all of these rare items, etc. And then you can get started with Britannia, which takes you to the end game. Hopefully this tutorial was helpful for you. This is an amazing mod pack. I absolutely love it. I've got my farm going over here. I'm having loads of fun in Skull Cavern, and I finally got Iridium armor. And it's really starting to get fun at this point. I will be launching a server for this one, so do join the Discord, and we may have a server depending on when you join. And check out my other Sunlit Valley tutorials in the playlist you now see on screen.